If you're older but still having sex, here are 5 things you need to stop doing to protect yourself. Age is not a barrier to a healthy sex life. In fact, many people maintain intimacy in their relationships well into their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Sex is not only an expression of love and connection, but it can also improve mood, reduce stress, support better sleep, and help keep the body flexible. However, like many other aspects of life as we grow older, our sex lives need to be adjusted to match our current physical and mental health. One common mistake is that older adults often maintain habits that once suited their younger, more energetic bodies, without realizing these same behaviors can now pose serious health risks. Many people still believe sex is as natural as breathing and doesn't require caution, but the truth is that the aging body needs more care, gentleness, and respect than ever before. Chronic conditions, cardiovascular health, weakened joints and bones, hormonal changes, or simply declining energy levels can all make sexual activity more challenging if not approached mindfully. Some actions, attitudes, or habits that were once harmless may now silently harm the body, increase the risk of injury, or even cause serious health incidents. There have been real cases of older individuals experiencing heart issues immediately after sex due to overexertion. Others try to maintain their old level of performance, not realizing that doing so may be gradually wearing down their health. Unfortunately, the consequences of this often come unexpectedly, and sometimes they're irreversible. What's important is not to give up sex altogether in old age, but rather to approach it wisely, thoughtfully, and in a way that suits your current condition. Sex can still be a beautiful part of the aging journey, if we're willing to adapt and let go of things that no longer serve us. Continuing to be sexually active in your later years is nothing to be ashamed of. On the contrary, it's a sign of vitality, connection, and genuine emotional expression between two people. But it must come with awareness and caution. A common reality is that many older adults feel embarrassed talking about intimacy, which leads to avoiding discussions with doctors or not fully understanding their sexual health. That silence can turn small missteps into big health risks. One of the wisest things older adults can do is to learn how to let go of what used to be normal in the past, things that may now be burdensome to both body and mind. Maintaining a positive sex life in your later years is entirely possible if you care for your health, stay open to learning, and most importantly, avoid certain seemingly harmless habits that can actually be hidden enemies to an aging body that now needs more gentle attention. Allow yourself to enjoy moments of intimacy in a safer, more refined, and relaxed way. There's no need to race to meet the expectations of your younger years. You have nothing to prove. What you need is peace in every moment, safety in every movement, and a genuine connection from the heart. And sometimes, simply changing a few small habits, the ones you still do without thinking, can be enough to protect your health, maintain closeness with your partner, and keep your emotional life strong and fulfilling. In the world of those who have lived through many ups and downs, sex is no longer just about physical desire. It becomes an expression of emotional connection, of trust, and sometimes, simply the act of holding hands in the dark to feel that we still have each other. However, not everyone realizes that what once fueled youthful passion can now pose potential risks if not adjusted accordingly. One of the key things to reconsider is viewing sex as a physical competition. Many still try to showcase strength or former prowess without acknowledging that their bodies have changed. The heart, blood pressure, and respiratory system, none of them are what they used to be. Strenuous activity or demanding positions that require flexibility or endurance can lead to exhaustion or worse, serious health consequences. Sometimes, a single episode of overexertion is enough to trigger severe bodily reactions, leading to dangerous complications like stroke or heart attack. Sadly, many either don't know this or simply refuse to accept it. A considerable number of elderly individuals remain hesitant, unwilling to talk to doctors about their difficulties or changes in sexual function. They fear judgment, being labeled too old, or seen as odd. Yet this silence often becomes the very reason that hidden risks go undetected. What everyone should understand is this: there's nothing wrong with older adults having sex. What's wrong is not understanding their true physical needs and limits. We also need to talk about the psychological aspect, something often overlooked by older individuals. Feelings of insecurity about body image, anxiety over performance, or the belief that one is no longer attractive can turn sexual experiences into stressful situations rather than sources of joy. When the mind is burdened by comparisons with the past, people easily forget that the most beautiful thing about sex in later life is acceptance, empathy, and being fully present in the moment. The misuse of medication without medical advice is another serious mistake. Pills heavily advertised as sexual enhancers may provide short-term effects, but they also put significant pressure on the heart and nervous system. Some believe these are the keys to regaining their former vigor, yet they're unaware that these very pills could be the cause of dangerous complications. In some cases, inappropriate drug use can interact negatively with medications for existing conditions, cause side effects, or even reduce the effectiveness of primary treatments. Communication is also vital in the sexual life of older adults. It's not just about expressing emotions, but being honest about physical conditions, boundaries, and hidden concerns. When both partners understand that intimacy doesn't need to follow any set mold, that affection, conversations, or simply lying next to each other can all be expressions of love, then much of the pressure can be lifted. This opens a new door where sex is no longer a duty, no longer proof of anything, but a free choice made by two souls. Another common mistake is neglecting hygiene and safety in sexual activity. Despite their age, protection against sexually transmitted infections, STIs, remains important. In recent years, studies have shown an increase in STI rates among the elderly. This isn't due to a lack of knowledge, but rather a belief that they are too old to worry about such things. That assumption is dangerously misguided. With weakened immune systems, even a simple infection can become significantly more serious. Maintaining hygiene awareness, faithfulness, and basic understanding of sexual health protection is crucial at any age. Sometimes, the fatigue felt after sex is not merely a sign of aging, but a silent warning from the body. It could indicate a weak heart, insufficient lung capacity, or unstable blood pressure. Unfortunately, many ignore these signs and continue their old habits until the body can no longer cope. A healthy sex life must go hand in hand with listening to the body, not with our ears, but with a mindful heart. When done right, sex in later life can be a powerful elixir for revitalizing a relationship. It can close emotional gaps, heal unspoken wounds, and rekindle emotions thought long gone. But for that to happen, both partners must be willing to adapt, to change, and to relearn how to love in a gentler, deeper, and more compassionate way. As we age, we begin to realize that the true value of sex doesn't lie in intensity or duration, but in sincerity, safety, and the feeling of being cherished. It's no longer a matter of instinct, but a soulful journey toward harmony. In a gaze, in a touch, in a quiet breath, love can be found if we know when to pause and let go of what no longer serves us. At an age when people are often referred to as elderly, most have already passed the major milestones of life. They have loved, suffered, sacrificed, built, and traded much to attain the peace they have now. Yet, that does not mean they no longer yearn for closeness, for affection, or for a life rich in emotional and physical connection. The key lies in knowing when to pause, what to let go of, and what to truly cherish in order to maintain a safe and meaningful sexual life. One important aspect that many overlook is reassessing their current relationship. There are relationships no longer rooted in love or deep connection, but rather habit, loneliness, or a sense of duty. In such cases, trying to maintain sex as an obligation or as a tool to preserve the relationship can lead to deep emotional damage. Sex should never become a burden, nor a means to fill a void in the relationship. Genuine intimacy must come from a need for harmony, from sincere sharing, not from fear, pressure, or the desperation to hold on to someone. Many in this age group feel uneasy when faced with the physiological changes they can no longer control. The body no longer responds as it once did. Familiar sensations now feel distant, and their partner's reactions are no longer easy to predict. These changes can be confusing, but they can also be an opportunity to relearn how to love. It's a time to slow down, to rediscover each other, and to touch not only with skin, but with care, listening, and deep understanding. A healthy sex life in old age is inseparable from healthy daily habits. Proper sleep, balanced nutrition, and gentle exercise form the foundation that supports physical energy and a positive spirit for intimacy. Many have tried meditation, yoga, or simply daily walks and noticed remarkable improvements, not only in their overall health, but also in their sexual lives. When the body is well cared for, it responds with flexibility, resilience, and a quicker recovery after intimacy. We must also talk about the influence of social and cultural pressures. In many places, the belief that older people should not or no longer need sex still persists. This mindset inadvertently makes many seniors feel ashamed, hesitant, or even guilty for desiring intimacy. But the truth is, the need to be loved, to be touched, and to feel is present until the very end of life. It is a natural part of being human, not something to hide or erase. What matters is how we express it, whether it is done respectfully, safely, and with humanity. Some people choose silence because they no longer know where to begin. They fear their bodies are no longer attractive, that their desires will be rejected. But if we dare to speak, to share, to express our needs sincerely and lovingly, beautiful things still have the chance to blossom. Intimacy doesn't depend on age. It depends on the depth of connection between two souls. If a safe space can be created where one can be fully themselves without fear of judgment, then sex in old age will no longer be taboo. It will be a natural and precious part of life. Another major obstacle is the denial of one's own needs. Some have gone through illness, lost their life partner, or suffered wounds so deep they have shut themselves off from closeness altogether. But over time, as the wounds heal and the body recovers, if one dares to face their feelings again, sexuality can return, gently, delicately, but no less deeply. This return isn't loud or rushed, but a slow journey toward the rebirth of a vital part of oneself, the ability to feel joy in every intimate moment. People often say that true love is when two elderly people still hold hands during an afternoon walk. But sexuality can exist in that hand-holding, not in the physical sense, but in the feelings of safety, warmth, and deep connection. When this is understood, people no longer misjudge the value of sex in old age. Instead, they learn how to love all over again, in a quieter, more thoughtful, and sacred way.